In our coverage today, a former U.S. diplomat says Washington has no Palestine policy. Assalamu alaikum. This is Muslim News Canada on Muslim Network TV. I'm Aylia Batool. The University of Waterloo mourns the loss of twin sisters who were killed in Gaza 2 weeks ago in an Israeli airstrike. Sally and Dalia Ghazi Ibaid were 26-year-old Palestinian women. They had been accepted into the university's Global Student Relief Initiative for a PhD program in system design engineering. They were preparing to cross the Rafah border when an airstrike claimed their lives. Their family had thanked the university for giving the sisters hope and a chance to dream of a brighter future. University officials described their deaths as a heartbreaking loss, emphasizing their exceptional academic potential. Sally's application highlighted impressive achievements in mechatronics engineering, including advanced projects in systemic programming and robotics. The university has shared their story and photos, urging remembrance of their unfulfilled dreams. Ontario Premier Doug Ford has increased efforts to counter Donald Trump's proposed tariffs on Canada as he goes through a series of high-profile U.S. media interviews. Ford is speaking with outlets like the New York Times, Wall Street Journal, and CNN. He emphasized the economies of both Canada and the U.S., warning that both nations would feel the pain of tariffs. Ford also proposed a businessman-to-businessman dialogue with Trump, seeking to highlight the negative impact on American workers and families. However, experts are skeptical about the influence a provincial leader can have on U.S. policy. Gary Huffbar of the Peterson Institute says Ford might gain more leverage by threatening to halt Ontario's electricity exports to states like Michigan and New York. Critics argue the federal government must take the lead in addressing the looming trade conflict. The population of Muslims in Canada has more than doubled in the last 20 years, going from 2% in 2001 to 4.9% in 2021. Statistics Canada reveals this rapid growth, showcasing the Muslim population is now approximately 1.77 million. The community is notably young, with a median age of 30 compared to the national median of 41. Geographically, Ontario has the largest Muslim population, while Quebec and Alberta also host significant numbers. South Asians are the largest racialized group within Canada's Muslim community at 37.6%, followed by Arabs and West Asians. English remains the most spoken language among Muslim households, though Arabic, French, and Urdu follow closely. The diversity of origins shows nearly 30% of Canadian Muslims were born in Canada, with Pakistan, Iran, and Morocco being other prominent countries of birth. A Canadian parliamentary report reveals a 1,300% rise in Islamophobia and anti-Palestinian racism in late 2023. Harassment, vandalism, and threats, including doxing and physical violence, have targeted Muslim and Palestinian communities. University campuses are being identified as hotspots of hostility. Amira Al-Ghawabi, Canada's special representative on Islamophobia, has reported over 1,000 incidents between October 2023 and March 2024. The report highlights civil liberties violations and systemic discrimination. This includes the impact of Quebec's Bill 21, which bans public servants from wearing religious symbols. The report calls for federal action to denounce anti-Palestinian racism, boost funding for mosque security, and expand hate crime units. It also recommends anti-Islamophobia education and urges collaboration with affected communities to address hate. Israel has escalated its military campaign, launching attacks across Palestine, Yemen, Lebanon, and Syria. In Gaza, Israeli airstrikes killed 32 Palestinians in the past 24 hours, including children and a doctor in the north. 14 of the victims were women and children, as residential areas in Jabalia were devastated. Simultaneously, Israel attacked Houthi-controlled regions in Yemen. Airstrikes on power stations, ports, and oil facilities in Sana'a and Al-Hudaydah killed 9 people and injured others. Israeli army spokesperson Daniel Hagari said the strikes hit energy and port infrastructure. He alleged the rebels have been using them in ways that effectively contributed to their military action against Israel. In Lebanon, Israeli forces breached a recent ceasefire with Hezbollah, committing 12 violations in districts like Deir and Marjayoun. These actions included airstrikes, artillery shelling, and destruction of homes, injuring 3 people. Lebanese authorities report 248 ceasefire breaches, with over 30 killed since the truce began on November 27th. Syria also faces continued Israeli airstrikes, intensifying instability after the fall of Bashar al-Assad's government. Israel's war on Gaza has killed at least 45,097 Palestinians and wounded 107,244 since October 7, 2023. Israel also faces a genocide case at the International Court of Justice for its actions in Gaza. Mike Casey, a former senior State Department official, has accused the U.S. of lacking a coherent policy on Palestine, claiming its actions are dictated by Israeli preferences. Casey criticized the Biden administration for ignoring U.S.-crafted proposals in favor of what he called deliberately destructive Israeli suggestions. Casey has documented Gaza's humanitarian crisis since 2020. He expressed frustration over ignored reports which highlight civilian casualties, including children. He also expressed disappointment with President Joe Biden's public questioning of Palestinian casualty figures, some of which Casey has directly documented. The State Department reiterated its commitment to international humanitarian law. However, they face growing criticism from current and former officials. 12 ex-U.S. diplomats recently labeled the administration's approach a failure and a threat to U.S. national security, citing its complicity in the Gaza crisis through armed support to Israel. A basketball match in Nanterre, France, was disrupted when activists stormed the court, waving Palestinian flags. This sparked a clash with Israeli fans who reportedly assaulted them. Security personnel failed to stop them as they fled to the stands. The match was being played between Hapoel Holon and Nanterre. Police intervened using force against the activists. The game, initially scheduled without spectators, was opened following a court decision. Earlier, a Free Palestinian demonstration in Nanterre was banned. That's all from our Toronto studios. Thank you for watching Muslim News Canada. We are a community channel dedicated to bringing you stories you can trust. Please like, share, and subscribe to our content. You can also comment to let us know what you think of our coverage. You can donate now by visiting muslimnetwork.tv/donate. For more content, keep watching Muslim Network TV.